Birmingham Sports
with Ben Ellis.
This is BHBN Radio.
It is the Monday after from Birmingham Sport, BHBN Radio. It's Birmingham's Hospital Radio Network. And the Monday after is where we review all of the weekend's action that we brought all of our listeners across the wards. And it just gives you a chance to get to know us better. I'm Ben Ellis, going to be your chair over... how long does the show last? Well, it'll be about the length of the first Ashes test, I think. I think we'll get it through in about that amount of time. So, what I would,
bitter.
Well, yeah, what I would like to say, if over the course of the next 2 days, if any English cricketer is found near a golf course in Perth while a test match should have been playing, they should have their central contract ripped up. Quite frankly, because it's an absolute disgrace from that. But I'm not bitter at all. No, I'm in a happy mood, actually, because Aston Villa have got themselves into the top four in the Premier League, which we're going to talk about in just a moment. Joining us to look at all the action, three people who were covering games for BHBM Radio this weekend. In the Premier League, at Molineux, still winless, Wolverhampton Wanderers, but it was brilliantly covered by our own Ed Mackay is with us now. How you doing, Ed?
Very well, thank you, sir. I imagine you're,
we'll get
much
there.
happier than I am today.
We'll get there. Don't worry. We'll get to that. I don't think anybody's happier than a Birmingham City fan at the moment. It's been a right blinding week as far as they are concerned. Kim Smith was there for BHBN, and she's with us now. How you doing, Kim?
I'm fine. Yeah, another 4 goals.
I know.
That's a lot more than I thought we were going to get yesterday.
Well,
but
yes,
I'm not gonna say no to them.
No, indeed, we will delve more into that. And we said this on another show that most of us do. Usually, the definition of being sent to Coventry means that you don't like somebody. Well, BHBN actually sent Jonathan Wimbush to Coventry on Saturday, and by about 1:15 Saturday afternoon, things were going pretty hunky-dory, but it didn't turn out that way in the end, and we'll discuss that later as well. How you doing, John?
Yeah, I think the most pleasant thing about that day was the train home, to be honest. But yeah, we'll get into that a little bit.
Can we quote you with that? Because we'll send that to Coventry City Council, the tourist. The best thing I can say about Coventry was the train ride home.
The best ride they've ever had.
Yeah.
Well, there we are. Well, they're probably going to be in the Premier League next season, by all accounts. And those of us who are old enough to remember, Coventry always used to be in the top flight, quite frankly. And that might seem alien to a lot of people, but no, back in the day, it was very much a case of Coventry always being in the top tier. Aston Villa are in the top four, and we record this on a Sunday evening, so it's a few hours removed. Everybody calls Leeds dirty Leeds, and they were almost dirty Leeds in the first half. Leeds were aggressive without being over the top, I think, in the first half, and they did put Villa under a lot of pressure, and it took Villa a while to really get to grips with it. Had to come from behind. Unai Emery makes the changes. Ed, what did you make of it? Villa's 2-1 victory at Leeds.
I think you have to give Leeds some credit because at the end of the day, they are playing a much superior team to themselves. And what do you expect from Leeds at Elland Road? They're going to be physical. They're going to be aggressive. They took the game to them. They ran out of steam a little bit in the second half, but also they seemed to be really affected by the disallowed goal. I felt like after that point, they never really tried to be on the front foot or try to score another goal. They seemed to just be sulking. Yeah. Really, that's how I would describe it.
That was as clear a cut a decision as you'll see as well. I think anybody can be
his hand.
It coming winning off his hand. Dominic Calvert-Lewin can try and claim it didn't, or it's one of those ones. Actually, the rule is it doesn't matter if it's intentional or not. If it's come off a hand and gone into the net, it cannot be. It cannot be a goal. I thought the booing around Elland Road, when we're here to talk about Midlands football, I thought the booing was a bit harsh, quite frankly. They're a newly promoted team. They're doing what they have to try and. It's all about trying to survive that first season, isn't it? You do what you have to do.
You can see that one fan tried to attack Daniel
it's
Farke, and
disgraceful.
security had to get involved. I mean,
Absolutely
what
disgraceful.
what are they playing at?
Yeah.
It's going to be tough, right?
Yeah.
Coming up to Wimbledon, he's going to be tough.
Yeah. John Morgan Rogers seems to have found the form that some of us were lamenting the disappearance of at the start of the season. He seems to be back.
Yeah, absolutely. He seems to really be on form, and as is the rest of Villa finding their feet and breaking into the top four now at the expense of Liverpool, maybe Tottenham as well. But yeah, I mean, with Leeds, a newly promoted side, they're always going to find it tough. Of course, Sunderland have found it a little bit easier than the other two, Leeds and Burnley, but. The fact that Leeds have only just dropped into the bottom three and we're now in November is really a statement to how poor the teams below them actually were, including one that we'll discuss in a little while. But yeah, I mean, Leeds, what did they expect really? They would be up against a very strong Aston Villa side, and yes, they scored the first goal, but they've got to try and hold on to that lead and try and get more on it. And I agree with you, that disallowed goal seemed to knock the stuffing out of them, and Villa capitalised.
Absolutely, the winning goal for Morgan Rogers, the free kick. It's one of those ones where it's a really good free kick. It's one that's close to the edge of the box. You've got to dink it over the wall. We saw a similar effort from Emi Buendia in the previous game against Bournemouth before the international break. But I've got to be honest, Kim, had it been the other way and my team had conceded a free kick, I would be furious. It was good, but it wasn't that good. And I think that's the way you got to look at that.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair play to Morgan Rogers. Only took a great free kick, but you don't want to be giving away opportunities in good positions. So Leeds paid the price. Yes, they did go straight back down the other end and have a go, but it was disallowed. And as the other chaps have said, that really seemed to finish it off, and they couldn't get themselves together after that.
Absolutely. Ed, what do you think of Ollie Watkins now? I mean, that's missing out on an England squad. Goalless again today, not for the lack of trying. I don't think anybody can say he's not putting the effort in. Is it just a case of he's waiting for that one that goes in off his backside and then he goes on a run, or do you think there's a more deep-seated problem?
Possibly it might just be, all of a sudden one goes in and then he goes on a run. However, what I will say is I've always seen Ollie Watkins as more of a sort of a stretcher of defences, if you like, rather than an out and out goal scorer. And as you say, there's always endeavour from him.
Yeah.
He doesn't stop running. I really see him more effective dragging people out of position. Like when he runs into the left channel, he does create lots of space. And that's where you think somebody like a Morgan Rogers or a John McGinn will get a chance to shoot from range. I don't really think it is his game to just score 20 goals a season. I know he has had purple patches where he's scored lots of goals, but I don't think that's his out-and-out game. I mean, he lost his rhythm last year, didn't he, when Duran and him were being swapped, and then obviously Rashford came in and he got to play ahead of him as well. And I'm not sure Unai Emery sees him as an out-and-out striker either. So maybe that's his issue, is that it's not his natural game and the manager doesn't really trust him to do it. I'm glad you said what you did about Morgan Rogers' free kick, though, because I have to say it looked deceptively easy.
Yeah.
for him to score, but I think he's class. Morgan Rogers is class. When I went to watch Villa play at Tottenham, they were poor, Villa, all game. But Morgan Rogers was the touch of class because he posted his stamp on that day as well. He is going on that plane.
No, there's no doubt about that. It's a question of if he starts ahead of Jude Bellingham, but I suppose that's a debate we'll have closer to the World Cup, I suppose. But one player I think has to be mentioned is Daniel Marlin. I mean, he comes off the bench at half time. The team are 1-0 down. Unai Emery feels he needs to change it up. And there you have that direct. The player that we've just said Ollie Watkins possibly isn't. Daniel Marlin has the potential to be. I don't think he's there yet. I think he needs an extended run in the side, but he's definitely more of a direct player and more central in terms of his running.
Yeah, he's more of a 9, isn't he, than Watkins? I mean, I think Watkins did traditionally play as sort of someone coming in from the wing, didn't he? When he was
did.
at Brentford, he didn't play up front, did he?
I think it's an example of Unai Emery's talents as a motivator and a head coach. He comes in. It hasn't gone particularly well with Steven Gerrard, and he's got a hold of Ollie Watkins, and he said, "Look, right now, just to shake you out of the malaise that you're in, that he was in back then, I don't want you outside the width of the goalposts. I want you central." Now it's kind of evolved back, if that's possible, to where he kind of naturally should be. I think they need to figure out a way to get Marlon into the team if he's going to start, but not lose anything from the central midfield area, and that's the juggling act. But the juggling act as well is the fixtures that are coming up. It's Young Boys in the Europa League. It's the early kickoff on Thursday. Be interesting to see what team selection we get there. And then we've got the derby against Wolves on Sunday, which we'll come to a bit later when we've talked about Wolves here on the Monday after from Birmingham Sport BHBN Radio. Back after this.
BHBN Radio has been going since 1952. It is run entirely by volunteers, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Right now, BHBN needs friends like you to ensure it can broadcast to hospitals, care homes, and into the community for many more years to come. You can help by donating through our Just GoFundMe account. It's easy. Simply go to our website, bhbn.net, scan our GoFundMe QR code, and in a few clicks, you can help us out. If you're a taxpayer, you can give 25% more through Gift Aid at no extra cost to you.
BHBN Radio.
It's the Monday after from Birmingham Sport, BHBN Radio, live across the wards, the hospitals of Birmingham and Solihull Hospital as well, certain care homes too. We brought you live coverage of Wolverhampton Wanderers 0, Crystal Palace 2 in the Premier League. 12 games into the season. The wait for a win still goes on. It was Rob Edwards' first game in permanent charge of Wolverhampton Wanderers yesterday, but we have mentioned as well, it's not the first time we picked a Wolves team. He had actually been in caretaker charge about 9 years ago when he was on the coaching staff at Wolves. But it's his ball game now as far as that's concerned. Ed Mackay was there, part of our commentary team. Brilliant job with Connor Porter as well. You can listen to the highlights of that. You can follow the description there. You can see the highlights package of that from this. But it's a familiar story, Ed. Lots of heart, lots of endeavour. You can't say they're not giving it their absolute all. There's just no quality there.
I mean, you sort of stole my thunder there because I thought they did make a big thing of Rob Edwards being in charge, and the crowd definitely got behind them. We spoke a few weeks ago about, that toxicity that was becoming present at the ground. That wasn't there yesterday. They were behind their man. And the team definitely reacted. They actually probably played the better of the two teams in the first half without having any real clinicality in front of goal. Either team, I would say, because they both had opportunities. But, and I've said this in my sort of post-match surmisation, as soon as they conceded, they just retreated again, and they lost that little spark that they'd had in the first half, where they were moving the ball really nicely. One thing I was I would give Rob Edwards credit for is he did identify that Strand Larsen has just been completely isolated for most of the season so far. He put a partner with him. Rukonde was up there with him, and it worked. He was winning the first ball. Strand Larsen was running on to things, but I think, and hopefully the owners have been savvy for once. I think they must have brought him in to promote to get them promotion from the Championship. That I mean, he's a promotion expert, Rob Edwards, as a player and a
Well,
manager.
yes, he's
You
also a
know, so
relegate.
like
He's also a relegation expert.
th-
He's as
this is
much
my argument.
of a relegation expert. Now, the question is the way it's gone for the last few years in terms of the downturn of the club. The question is not where Wolverhampton Wanderers will be next season. Where will Wolverhampton Wanderers be in 2 seasons? Will they be back in the Premier League? Will they be stuck in the Championship? Or let's not forget Luton. You know, if it's that bad, it could be double. So that this is the slide that they need to avert, Ed.
I would say that Wolves are a bigger club than Luton. They have more pedigree in, you know, because if you think about when they got promoted from the Championship, they walked the Championship that year. So I think they're more well versed to coming back up than they are to getting relegated again. But I agree with you because other people have said, "Oh, you know, well, he did so well with Luton. He got them up. They did well." I was like, "Well, he did get them relegated twice."
Yeah.
You know, so
I
like
mean,
he's got that in his locker as well.
officially he had gone by the time Luton went down from the Championship to League One.
He'd
But
done the damage by then.
The damage was done. Yes,
Yeah.
I agree with that. Jonathan
Yeah.
Wimbush sees as much as Wolves as anybody on the team. We're not going to do the joke, John. Don't worry, it's a running gag. But I mean, 30,000, just shy of 30,000, was still there. You know, there's a lot to be said for that in terms of Wolves and the Wolves fans. They are prepared. They are prepared to back them. Well, they've forked out for the Premier League season tickets, I suppose, is part of the answer to that. But at least the crowd are with them, and they do realise what's going on regarding the club, and it's important that the players still have the fans on side for the remainder of the season, isn't it?
Yeah, and you know, 30,000 fans, as you mentioned there at Molineux. Even though they've only picked up 2 points from the first 12 games, you know, bound to be relegated, to be honest, unless there's a massive upturn in results. Of course, those against Crystal Palace who know how to get a result, even if they're not playing at their best. And sure enough, Crystal Palace managed to get that result at Molineux yesterday. But it's a really good show of support from the fans. Despite just a month ago, I was at the defeat to Burnley, and you know, you saw players, you know, confronting fans and fans confronting Vita Pereira, the former Wolves boss, and it's all stark contrast now, just 4 weeks later, to having everyone behind the team trying to get results, even if the performance is there at the moment, the results aren't. And yeah, a lot of the debate over the appointment of Rob Edwards, I feel, has been exactly what you said. Where will they be next season? Where will they be in 2 seasons' time? Because my personal opinion is that they're planning for next season, and they've kind of ripped this season off because, as I said, 2 points from the first 12 games, no wins at all. Still the only team, I should say, in the top 4 divisions not to have a win. So yeah, I think they're planning for next season.
Well, in terms of the Premier League, it's actually longer. Did they not? Once they'd got themselves safe at the back end of last season, I think they switched off, didn't they? For the remote. So I think it's the equivalent of about half a season now without winning. So the target probably is, well, probably Derby is the target at the moment in terms of just trying to avoid that. And speaking of derbies, the way this all links together is so beautiful. It's not as if it's been written or anything. But we get to next Sunday, and what Rob Edwards does have, Kim, is he has a full week with the players on the training ground. Villa have got Europa League. I expect mass changes for young boys as far as Villa are concerned. Although, you know, they did slip up with Go Ahead Eagles, so that's something to bear in mind. But Villa will go into next Sunday massive favourite. I know we'll talk about another derby in just a minute as well that's coming up, but they will say the cliche is that form goes out the window, but Villa will be massive favourites for this next Sunday.
Yeah, I think so. Wolves are in such a state at the moment. Not only have they not got a win already, their goal difference is -20. And you can't see Wolves putting much of a fight up away next Sunday, whether or not it's a derby game. I mean, I'm sure it will be very bitterly contested, but I just cannot see Wolves getting anything out of that. And I think you're right. The next goal, I think, for Wolves is that they don't do a derby. They've got to try and avoid going down with a record points level, to try and rescue something from this season. And of course, don't forget, Wolves have done the double relegation before.
They have. The last time they went down
Yeah,
2 years running.
yeah.
I just worry from a Wolves point of view. I don't worry. I'm kind of hoping it happens, if I'm honest. But I just worry from a Wolves point of view. What happens if Villa score in the first 5-10 minutes next
Yeah.
week? Ed.
I will say, the one thing that they did do better yesterday was they were much more compact, and they did seem to they were a bit more coherent between the defence and the midfield. But when Rob Edwards actually made his first substitutions, that's when Palace found loads of space. So I wouldn't be surprised if he tries to just keep his first 11 on for as long as possible next week, because I agree with exactly what you just said. As soon as Villa score, that will be it, because they look like they just completely fall apart once they concede a goal.
And he's got to get to know them as well. I mean, he came in during an international break. He's only had this one game. Changing the personnel, let's say you hope for a new manager bounce, but the writing very much is on the walls for Wolverhampton Wanderers. But it will be live across the wards on BHBN Radio next Sunday. 2:05 will be the kickoff, not 2:00. So don't be late for that. Those important 5 minutes. But there we are. It will be covered, and we will be dipping into the Championship very shortly. Contrasting weekends for West Bromwich Albion and Birmingham City ahead of those two clubs meeting in the Championship this coming midweek. It's still to come.
BHBN Radio has been going since 1952. It is run entirely by volunteers, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. Right now, BHBN needs friends like you to ensure it can broadcast to hospitals, care homes, and into the community for many more years to come. You can help by donating through our Just GoFundMe account. It's easy. Simply go to our website, bhbn.net, scan our GoFundMe QR code, and in a few clicks, you can help us out. If you're a taxpayer, you can give 25% more through gift aid at no extra cost to you.
BHBN Radio.
It is the Monday after from Birmingham Sport, BHBN Radio, looking back at the weekend's action. And we are dipping into the Championship now. And Kim Smith was at St Andrews for the next, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. It will still be the home of Birmingham City. After that was announced earlier this week. I gave my opinions of it. You can find it on TikTok. My TikTok did explode based on what I said on another channel, but that's fine. No, it's not a problem. Kim, you've had a day at least at the time that we're recording this to think about it. If we put feelings after Carabao Cup 2011 out there on its own,
Yeah.
where would this week rank in terms of that was a blinding week as far as being a Blues fan is concerned?
Oh, well, it's not been too bad, I think, if you're
No.
a Blues fan, because obviously, 12 goals in 3 games, that's not to be sneezed at. The announcement of the new stadium, the 150th anniversary, all within a few days of each other. So I think most Blues fans are going to say that it hasn't been a bad week at all. And I think also one of the other things is for the fans to be able to properly see the intent of the owners.
Yes, definitely.
Because um, okay, the stadium is the thing that's been talked about, but it's part of a much larger project that's actually going to benefit the city as a whole. And what? Why should London and the
Absolutely.
Northwest get all the jam? It's
Absolutely.
about time we had some.
Yes, yes. No doubt about that. I mean, Ed, the home form that they've got and the performances that they're putting in just lately, I mean, it certainly does put smoke in the chimney, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, to second what Kim said, Birmingham is actually the second city, so we should get a little bit more,
Well,
rejuvenation.
there
And
are there are
like,
people
yeah,
in this world who genuinely believe or thought that Manchester is the second city
Manchester.
in
Yeah,
this
I
country, and
hear it all
it's
the
not
time. Yeah,
true. Absolutely not true. Um, and as I said on TikTok the other day, I live in the area, and it badly needs regeneration. The transport links,
regeneration.
all of
Yeah,
that stuff, and that cannot be a bad thing. What they have to do, and I'm starting to be more of a believer, certainly in terms of their home form. Um, if they can get into this new stadium in 4 or 5 years' time as an established Premier League club,
yeah. That
then
that that would be massive.
then that's
Yeah,
the point.
to be a
That's
Premier League club.
everything. I mean, it'd be great. I mean, if it takes a couple of years and they get promoted and straight away move into the stadium, fine. But if we can already be established in the Premier League and then make the move, I think that would make you even stronger. Now, if they start to put some away performances in that match the home
Yeah,
ones that we've seen. I mean, bear in mind on this show 6 7 weeks ago, we were questioning whether or not Chris Davis is under pressure. That's
Well,
gone away
one
now.
thing I was going to actually say, Ben, is that when I was there, 2 or 3 weeks ago, one of the things Chris Davies did say, and he spoke quite impressively actually about the fact that, you know, should try one of your smooth links. Rejuvenation was the key for him as well. He said he focused on the things that they were doing badly, set pieces, being clinical in front of goal, and we've seen over the last 3 games set pieces, actually scoring goals. I mean, the score of 4 goals a game at the moment. So that he has focused on where the deficiencies were, where it was creeping in and becoming a problem, and they've definitely fixed those problems. And that is the mark of a good coach, isn't it? To identify a problem and actually find a solution. And I would say he does deserve some credit for that because they look a different team
Can
to,
I give
as you
can I
said,
give the
as they did 4
counterbalance?
weeks ago.
Can I give the counterbalance to that argument? And it's just for the purposes
Yeah.
of debate. I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm not sure about smooth links, but that'll be another debate for another day. He's kind of been lucky in a way that this has kind of fallen into his lap because of the suspension of
From the
Jack
opposition.
Robinson. The
Oh, right, I
suspension of Jack
see what you're
Robinson.
saying.
Now that was at the point where it was starting to be a little bit squeaky bum, and he'd made some mistakes, and he'd got the red card at Coventry, and then at home against Hull City, I believe, back-to-back red cards. And it's got to be a change in terms of personnel, and now that
You
spine of
stumbled
the
across a
team is
formula that works.
stumbled across the
Yeah,
formula that has worked. Now,
that's fair enough.
I'm not knocking
But
that, but
but but but those
that's what
things
happened.
happen, right? Those things happen, and sometimes necessity is the best way of finding an invention. And he stumbled across a formula that works, and of course he's been a bit more fortunate with his run of games as well. I would say,
Mm,
um, because I thought like Portsmouth were there for the taking the day I was there, and I think the subsequent games as well, the opposition haven't really turned up against
mm.
a Birmingham team that are there to hunt them down. But they're on a good run, and as Kim said, the Blues fans are bouncing into this Monday morning.
Yeah, and just quickly before we move on to West Brom, Kim, Marvin Dutch is now scoring goals, and that's important.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Because when he did come to us, he was suffering with an injury problem that now seems to be sorted. And, not once, but twice, yesterday. I mean, a brace for him and a brace for Stansfield, and they're also demonstrating that they're working well together, which is another thing that you want, because you need more than one scoring option always. And also big credit to Damari Gray, who had a tremendous game yesterday, despite all the travelling he's done in the last week as well, because he's been to Jamaica and back, which is quite a lot of air miles. But yeah, very, very well done all round yesterday. 4-1 to the Chimney Boys.
Absolutely, 4-1 to the Chimney Boys. And we'll discuss what's next in just a moment, because we're moving over to West Bromwich Albion now. John, as I say, by about 1:15 yesterday, everything was going swimmingly. What did go wrong at Coventry?
Well, to put it mildly, Jason Malumbi lost his head, and then the game plan from the first half went completely out the window. Of course, Mikey Johnston, probably the best player for West Brom this season, making the chances, and Ona Hegabo pretty much with two tap-ins. One was fortunate to come off the post and go the right way into the net. But Ona Hegabo, that's 3 goals in 2 games now, to add to his goal against Oxford before the break, and then these 2. But yeah, after that, Coventry managed to pull a goal back with a nice header from Ellis Sims, and it was one of those where Coventry had a plan, and that plan was to frustrate West Bromwich Albion so much that it was bound to happen that one of the West Brom players was going to fall into the Coventry trap. And sure enough, it was Jason Malumbi. And the first yellow, he's silly for getting that yellow, getting involved with a couple of handbags at dawn, should we say, and picking himself up a yellow card. And then just after half time, when West Brom were 2-1 up and in command, again another a silly yellow card. And West Brom were down to 10 men. Now, what I did say in the commentary is that Coventry are, at the moment, tough enough to play with 11 men. But once Albion went down to 10, it was nearly impossible. In fact, it was impossible to stay ahead of them. And sure enough, they got their 2 goals in the second half to win 3-2. And yeah, it wasn't a nice feeling for anyone of the Baggies, Baggies side of things.
What I try to do in doing this job is when it's not my team, try and put my feet into the shoes of a supporter of that club, to try and be as, how would I feel if this was my team, kind of thing. And so 2 things are bothering me, having watched the game, or most of the game when I got back from the BHBN studio last night, was one, how has that ball got through from Victor Torp to go through about 8 bodies to find its way into the net, which somebody gets something in the way of that, just a chest, a knee, or whatever. Secondly, and something that came out after the game, and you probably heard this in the press conference, half-time substitution of Mikey Johnston. Ryan Mason confirmed that this was tactical, not that he'd picked up a knock. Now Mikey Johnston he got the 2 assists for Hegabo's goals. Where are there's been talk about Ryan Mason coming under some scrutiny here. Where are the tactics there? What is there to gain tactically from making that change?
Honestly, I've heard those comments as well all day today, and I can't for the life of me figure out why he subbed Mikey Johnston off. He put Samuel Illing Jr. on, so the only thing I can say for that is that he needed Illing Jr.'s pace to get past the Coventry defence, because he has got some pace on him, Illing Jr. has. But again, yeah, he created the 2 goals for Hegabo. One of them where he completely robbed one of the Coventry players off the ball
exactly.
and ran down to the byline and crossed it in. But yeah, it was even at the time when they announced it just before the second half kicked off. Even I was thinking, like, Mikey Johnston off? Why? and that's what I'm still asking myself now.
Purely tactical. We are up against the clock here in terms of the limited time that we've got available to each other, but it is going to be West Bromwich Albion against Birmingham City this Wednesday night. Kim's going to be at the Hawthorns, Jonathan Wimbush is going to be at the Hawthorns, and I'm going to be at the Hawthorns, sandwiched between them as well, as like the voice of reason, just to try and stop them coming to blows. John, if the home form of Birmingham City shows up on the road, I fear for West Brom on Wednesday night. Because there isn't, and as I say, it's a derby, anything can happen. But they're just, from what we see week in, week out, I don't see any evidence as to the progression of West Bromwich. I looked, have you seen the league table? They're down to 17th.
Yeah.
That's surprising. Ed, quickly, we haven't got much time.
I'm just going to say one thing. My best friend's a Coventry City supporter. I grew up in a CV postcode. And he actually said, even at 2-0,
you just muted yourself.
Even at 2-0, he wasn't worried.
Yeah.
And a lot of the things you've said mirror when Cov played Birmingham, because they went down to 10 men as well, didn't they, against them? And Cov are going up. It's as simple as that.
There's no doubt about that.
No doubt.
Absolutely no doubt about that. And so Wednesday night, 8:00 kickoff, and all the best of the action will be on our YouTube and TikTok channels. I will be steadfast, completely straight down the middle, disliking both clubs equally, and that's the best way to do it. And so much so, I'm so much of a team player in terms of my neutrality. I'm not even going to do Villa Wolves next Sunday. I'm not even going to be at that one, so nobody can say to me, you're biased one way or the other. So I'm actually looking forward to being there on Wednesday night. I'm looking forward to seeing Blues in the flesh for the first time this season. So that's weird for a Villa fan to say in a strange way, but I'm genuinely intrigued by it all. So I think I've seen in the past. I've been to that game a couple of times. Steve Bruce got sacked not long after losing to Blues when he was at West Brom. Yeah. So the pressure, the pressure could be on Ryan Mason come next weekend. There's no doubt about that. We are out of time. Like we said, all of our highlights, our match reports are all there on our YouTube and TikTok channels. TikTok is bhbn.sport. The numbers are really good. We're really pleased that you are liking and engaging with them. Don't forget the appeal as well to keep BHBN going. And we will be doing this all again next week to react to some big derbies in the region, which we are very much looking forward to. For Ed Mackay, Kim Smith, Jonathan Wimbush, I'm Ben Ellis. This has been the Monday After, and we'll see you next week.
Birmingham Sports
with Ben Ellis.
This is BHBN Radio.